we're gonna get into DBQ.
Der deutsche Vormarsch geht unaufhaltsam weiter. Die gewaltige Angriffsfront der bolschewistischen Streitkräfte ist durchstoßen und zersplittert. Der deutsche Soldat hat sich schon jetzt im Kampf gegen den bolschewistischen Weltfeind unvergängliche Verdienste um die Rettung Europas erworben.
On June the 22nd, 1941, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, shattering the Nazi-Soviet pact signed in Berlin in 1939. The ultimate goal of the invasion of the USSR was to empty Eastern Europe of Jews and communists, to clean out a living space, or Lebensraum, for a great Reich destined to rule 1,000 years.
This was not an ordinary war. This was supposed to be a war of annihilation. And as it was planned by Hitler since late 1940, this was a war where the enemy was not to be conquered, but destroyed, annihilated. And that led to the appointment of Himmler as a special envoy for security measures in the occupied territory.
The Einsatzgruppen, 3,000 strong, were quickly trained in Prech and divided into 4 units, corresponding to 4 parts of the huge territory of the USSR. They advanced in the wake of the Wehrmacht. Each Einsatzgruppe was attached to 1 or more military units. Einsatzgruppe A, the Army Group North unit, operated in the Baltic states, annexed by Stalin the year before. Einsatzgruppe B was to clean out Byelorussia and Central Russia. Einsatzgruppe C, northern and central Ukraine. And Einsatzgruppe D, southern Ukraine. Divided into 4 battalions called Einsatzkommandos and Sonderkommandos, the Einsatzgruppen, literally intervention groups, were assigned to track down and execute the foes of Nazism. In other words, Jews and communist partisans.
Okay, so
Foes of Nazism.
like take a look. Like specially designed units to look for Jewish folks and for communists and for also like Roma gypsies. Right? Now, they used to be a threat, right? And this is just a side note in history. It's a very major side note in history, in which we see kind of the like it inspired a lot of other additional murders in Eastern Europe, which is very much a tragedy. Alright, now, okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'd like you to go into Schoology, and in Schoology, we're going to go into Operation Barbarossa, the DBQ, right? So, if you want to go find no more, we're gonna go here. So there are 2 different ones because they do require 2 different submissions, right? Because I couldn't submit both of them. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna download. It's a writable PDF, so you're gonna write into the PDF itself, and you want to start off with your response to the questions. Here, right? But what I would like you to do is if you can please kind of read pair share, meaning if you want to get into pairs, or if you're in a group, if you have a table of 3, you can do a group of 3. If you want to read a paragraph, and after I read a couple of paragraphs, after you read those 2 paragraphs, kind of visualize what you're reading, right? And then try to summarize what you're reading. So every 2 paragraphs, kind of visualize and summarize, right? So if you want to go ahead and do that, and give about 30 minutes to complete this the DBQ. Yes.
So we submit 2 per table?
So no, for the first the DBQ here. This one, if you want to do this in groups, you can do this in groups. It's fine, right? But it is a writable PDF, so you have to share. I just share the answers and you can write it in, right? For the second submission for today, what that is, okay, if you go here, okay. Okay, it's going to be a 3-2-1 summary, right? Meaning, once you're done with the DBQ, right? What I would like you to do is from what we discussed today in lecture, from videos, from the DBQ itself. If if you want to just write three new discoveries, write 2 interesting facts and 1 lingering question. Right, so that's like 3, 2, 1. Right, so 3 new discoveries, meaning like what's something that you found out today that you didn't know about, or something of interest. 2 facts, meaning like something that would be like, for example, okay, who knows how many troops went into Russia? How many German troops went into Russia? Cooper? 3 million, right? So that's an interesting fact, right? I know that you'll actually read in the DBQ today how many actually left or actually came back to Germany. It's pretty interesting. The number is pretty dramatic. So let's go ahead and if you want to get into the DBQ, right? And once we do the DBQ, I'll give you some time to complete the 3, 2, 1 summary, okay? All right. And should we go to Russia? Play some Russian music. Since we are in the Russian, right? All right.
That's all it's thinking.
So I guess we're doing it. Okay. So then I guess does anyone guys, since we have a lot of text to read first before we even get to questions, do you guys want to just take turns reading one paragraph each? So you want one person to read the whole one until we get to the first question as well? Just like reading it now.
Okay, if you guys are once again, if you guys are like read out loud, that would be really helpful. Alright, so we're gonna read 2 paragraphs and and then switch to a different person. Read 2 paragraphs and switch to a different person. Alright, so you got it down.
Who wants to go first for the 2 paragraphs? Why did you say this earlier?
I did.
Are you on Operation Barbarossa BBQ?
I'm on school issue. Oh, okay.
Because it goes over some interesting stuff.
He's lying.
Why does everyone entertain?
The scale of the campaigns are pillars level 3 million trees.
Solve the experience.
Guys,
Who wants to read first? You said it was unlightable. It is unlightable, but yeah. Like in the literally in the middle, look, I'm writing. Just 2 paragraphs.
Why did you break the The reasons for the invasion.
This also says by racial ideas. Russians
It's and weeks and
multiracial superior Germany.
It's the way that you say it. When
Russia suffers south that
you have this
provide even more
tone to it.
living space.
Wait, what are we reading?
Russia was also at the heart of
The Russian army.
Oh, oops.
He was also obsessed with racial ideas. The Russians even were in years slack, which was often a real resistance. agrees to release Russia's federal planes could provide more living space. Russia was also at the heart of world communism and hindered the test of communism. The Russian Red Army had done very badly during its brief war with this at the winter of 1939 to 1940. This leads to the Soviet Union to an army community. This conflict is also boosted by the fact that in the late 1930s, Stalin and the Soviet Union had shot 35,000 officers, 23% of all his officers, in purchasing the Red Russian army. Stalin believed that the army was not against
Despite that, no foreign army had successfully invaded Russia. Hitler was confident at that time that he was defeated the Russian military. He became managed to get on both sides and would pass them much better. For example, only Finland, 1,500
Crazy, right?
I did it, oh my goodness.
So Germany ought to have maybe sell 41, that is sell 43. So there's like,
Yeah.
If you kind of do that, like, visualize what happened.
Really, I was
Yeah, this is the first one already? What do you think is, what do you visualize as your best abortion?
That's what I did, but I thought it was wrong, I did it right. That was the other one.
Rely on the flow of the water, right? Like, we just like, oh, I experienced like,
The Germans captured
going deeper and deeper into Russia.
Stalin. Here, these factories will be
No
started
matter how
manufacturing
many
more
tanks
producing
the
essential war
Germans
materials.
destroyed and however many they killed or captured, they seem to raise endless supply of both. The Russian troops were the greatest and strongest unit in defense of both Russia and Poland. They were also supported by civilians that joined the resistance against the German army due to ordinary Russian tribes.
But he said we're supposed to
So what do you visualize so far? What do you visualize so far? Yeah. So how do you like see that happening? Like, are you just like, all right, that's in the factory. It's pretty good, huh? Or to imagine like all the different parts of the machine are all going back to more east, more east. How would you summarize what you read so far? Yeah, smart or desperate, right? Wow. Okay.
By the end of 1941, Hitler was one of his cities, capturing Ukraine. The two major cities of Leningrad and Moscow.
Operation Citadel became the battle of in July 1943. Germany tried once more to stop Russians in battle.
The battle was fierce and
By the
closely
end,
fought.
Germany had
November
2,500 troops, and Russia had already
300,000 German soldiers were trapped in the city. It refused to allow them to surrender.
and were on full guard.
That questions
By late 1944, Russian Red Army tables completely was ready.
The German army had been prepared to fight a winter battle and died of exposure due to their light. Some were made of one and starvation. The ground was soon to dangerous and almost all buildings which would have provided shelter had been destroyed. When they finally been surrendered in January 1943, over 90,000 German troops were prepared. In July 1943, the Germans tried once more to stop the Russians in the Battle of Kursk. By the end, Germany had just 2,500 troops in Russia, while the USSR had 8,200. By late 1944, the Russian army had
So which one, which is your favorite?
Oh, I actually have.
Probably the Russian.
The truth is a little more complex. What do I think?
Okay, let's see, start over. You're going to pick one. Yeah, you're right. There's a new testosterone. We have only to kick in the door and the whole rod structure will come crashing down. And we're talking about like, okay,
What do you want to visualize the part of the meeting?
okay, what do you think he's saying? Exactly.
So he's
I guess we can check right now.
Detail? What,
So, where was he saying that?
What was, have you got to the part where they talk about the factory and what is correct? Yeah.
Capitalized coming in.
Oh, why is it showing text like
There's like, yeah, there's like a separate thing like that.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's pretty interesting, right? Like the,
No, I was gonna ask for a picture, but like, if I can't tell.
how he describes, the series, like the Russia sucks, Russia's inferior, they have nothing. And then once you have to get into the war,
Okay, you can. When you fly in your
ethics. Have you read into the
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
So what does it look like?
Yeah, it's just like.
Ah, shoot. So,
I think it was like this.
Did he download it? You're viewing it.
Oh, it's not mine. I don't know how to do it.
Oh. Wait, but there has to be a way, cause I can download it like this. How proud are you?
Oh my god.
However, Hitler had failed to defeat the British Air Force. Battle occurred.
Tax rate, hold on.
Into Russia.
Figure it out.
The Russian
Is there like an icon that has the upside down arrow that points at like a little?
Molotov
and, of course, so how many troops were being,
promising that
German,
Russia
who was there, who was just came back from Operation Barbarossa?
What do you plan on doing? What do you plan? So then I guess I have to ask my person what to do.
I found it.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
You did me wrong.
Oh, wait, I did.
So smart.
Okay.
Everyone that
Read
listens.
it out. You should listen to Chris Walker.
Chris more often, yeah.
Like Christopher.
That doesn't sound like very smart.
So how many troops, survived
So
Operation
Russia
Barbarossa?
breaks their promise when Germany tries to.
Only 9,000.
Oh, 90,000, yeah.
So what was the real number? No, that's how
Oh, no,
many
that's
were
how many.
falling. How many were, what's the real number?
Absolutely, we are.
3 million? So from 3 million down to
What do you
9.
guys think? Since it's like a group of
Imagine losing that many soldiers.
like, do you think that's
Like, oh, Lord.
cooperating?
And pretty much,
They're forced. Well, the fact that they're holding a gun behind their back.
Some, do you want to repeat yourself?
Like,
Anything?
like, I think the guns are like,
is that, so what was the original number of troops?
Million. 3 million.
3 million? How many came back?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Hitler, he says Hitler talking about Russia.
That Russia is on the
like, what they're like doing outwardly, like, with, like, you back, like, try to kind of prevent.
It would be, Chris.
Oh, okay. And now we're gonna, so, there is a cartoon, right, that we're supposed to watch here. So let's go here. If you scroll down, remember there are links all over this thing, pretty cool links. Right, so, they all have like, if you, just additional information you can use, right? So we have like, explanation of Molotov-Ribbentrop, right? Right, so if you throughout the DBQ, there's a whole, slew of different, informative links. Okay, now, here's so for task 2, I think folks are there. What we can do is just take a quick look. Okay, so this is pretty funny. It is Tom and Jerry. Alright, so what does it say here? What is this? Operation Barbarossa. Okay, so we'll learn later, right, what happens during the war. Right, but yeah, so you guys okay, like Operation Barbarossa was a huge failure for the Germans. Right, so we'll have another 50 minutes, and we're gonna DDQ it. If you guys can switch to the picture ones, I'm
Okay,
gonna do it.
we'll be good. First, Quincy read right now.
Oh, what they wanted people to think about the British.
Yeah.
By early 1941, Hitler tactic was proving very successful. France, Luxembourg, Holland, Belgium, Poland, Norway, Denmark, and Greece were occupied by or controlled by the Nazis. However, Hitler had failed to defeat the British Air Force in the Battle of Britain and now turned his attention to Russia. Russian and foreign ministers had signed an agreement between the countries.
What's another word for that?
Promising that Russia would not punish Germany for its sedition, which he did a few weeks after the act.
Okay, the cartoon asks us, look carefully at the cartoon. It shows Hitler leaders Germany, the British gone, introduces as Russia. No question though, who's this Joe?